This is the Sony Xperia S, and this is the latest Android smartphone coming in from the Sony brand after the name rejig happened recently. The moment we took this phone out of the box, we were very impressed with how it looks. Let me just run you through some of the design elements here. This is a 4.3-inch display. A part of the panel on the front has a rubberized finish to it. Now you would imagine that the back, the home and the options key from here is the actual key, but ideally it is not. You see these tiny little marks here? This is where you use the touch sensitive side. We'll show you that demo when we're using the phone. If you look at it from the side, it's entirely a rubberized finish. This is where the USB port is. It's got a pretty solid flap for it, even though when you're plugging in the charger you'll have to be a little careful because this might break, and it's certainly on the harder side. Now you can see it takes a little time to go in as well. On the other side is the mini HDMI port with the same kind of a cover to it. Just be very careful of not breaking this because I don't think that's very solid, even though the cover is well made. The volume rockers here and a dedicated camera key. This is where the speaker is. The 3.5mm jack and the power key on the top. The power key is of the same color as the rest of the phone, so it blends in pretty well. On the back, this is a complete rubberized finish to it. If you notice from the top, there's a slight arc here in the middle. Now what it helps is, it helps you in gripping the phone. It doesn't slide around as much as some of the phones do. And while this is a 4.3-inch display, let's just say it's very comfortable to hold, because mostly due to the thin bezel around the display. Going to the back again, this is not a unibody phone, so you can open the back cover. This is where the micro SIM card goes in. Now, but you still cannot access the battery even though you can open the rear cover. I mean, Sony could have just implemented a SIM card slot on one of the side panels and made this a unibody display. It would have just become a little more solid. We were talking about the buttons earlier, the keys earlier. This is how it works. So for home, there's a tiny little indicator here. Press on that. This is home, this is for return, and this is for options. So once we're inside the menu here, if you want to go back here, if you want to come home, just click here. The Timescape Ui has its own positives and negatives. It doesn't look as visually appealing as let's say the Sense UI on most HTC phones, but it's very functional nevertheless. All the widgets you possibly want are here. It could have done with a little more tweaks to what you can do to widget sizes and possibly have less sharpy edges to all of the widgets. It's like a very boxy look to it. The interface is typical Android 2.3 with the kind that we saw even on the Xperia S. Now an interesting app that we noticed here was the Power Saver app. Now what you can essentially do is activate the Power Saver and even customize it for what applications you want, what time you want it for, and how if at all you want it to automatically kick in. As you can see, it's just a little difficult to get used to these because what you essentially do is your finger comes here. Surprisingly, this phone does not come with Android ICS, so that's going to be a future update. Sony have put in a time for, let's say, May or June for the update to come along. We don't really know when it's going to happen. Well, looking at the display, you can probably make out the crispness of this display. Well, it's a small display, smaller size than, let's say, what we saw on the HTC One X, but it's got a 720p resolution. The text is very crisp. Reading SMSs is not a problem at all. Reading on the web browser is not a problem at all. And we quite like the brightness setting on this one. Speaking of which, let us take you there and show you what we're talking about. You can set the brightness manually. It's at 50% at the moment. We take it up to 100%. But you'll notice there's no auto brightness setting here. But that's a little weird. We would have really appreciated that being here. So as you can notice, it's not the most seamless way to go about. Now it refuses to go back. The phone is still working, so. Just to run you through some of the hardware specs on this phone. This has a 1.5 GHz dual-core processor. It has a 4.3-inch display with a 720p resolution. There's a 12 megapixel camera, and this one comes with 1 GB of RAM, so we're expecting the UI to be pretty slick. And there's 32 GB of built-in storage, but there's absolutely no memory card slot, so that's that. And this one uses a micro SIM, not a full-size SIM.